Today I'm going to look for a single bird, the Scott's Oriole. This would be a lifer for me, and I'm really excited to head to the West Desert to look for this beautiful black and yellow bird. Are we going to be able to find it? Stick with me and find out. Hey everyone, welcome back to another adventure. I have joined an Autobahn tour today, led by my good friend Pat. Super excited. I don't get out to the West Desert very often, the area out west of Salt Lake County. We've gone past Tooele, we're up in the Cedar Mountains right now, and the goal is to find Scott's Orioles. So come along, let's see what we find on this adventure. And so our adventure began as we approached the foothills of these Cedar Mountains. This was a pretty sparse area, though there were a lot of cliff swallows flying all around, and we quickly grabbed some of our first species, including one of Utah's most iconic birds of prey, the golden eagle. This bird is all brown in comparison to the bald eagle, which of course has that characteristic white head. This northern mockingbird was kind of surprising me. I didn't know they were up in this region because we don't see them around Salt Lake very often. A very good start to the day. And then we saw a loggerhead shrike perched up on a tree, another very cool bird. As we made our way into the mountains, the anticipation grew. We saw some awesome birds like these chukar out in the fields, and then almost right away we hit our target species. I got this photo of a Scott's Oriole. Pretty awesome. We're still fairly early into the adventure, but we got our first Scott's Oriole. There's a male and female pair. I only managed to snag a quick photo of it. Still very happy to get that lifer. Let's hope we come across some more though, and I can get some good video clips too.
Flycatcher off to the right. There's a little group of...
With seeing our target bird so quickly, it left us kind of like, what was next? So everything now was kind of a bonus, but we were still, of course, hoping to get some really good video and even better photos of these birds. This stop here where we got out of the cars amidst the junipers proved to be one of the most productive areas for finding Scott's Orioles, but there were a lot of other great species around too. And after hearing their calls amongst these trees and seeing brief glimpses of them, I finally got another look at an Oriole off in the distance. One actually flew directly overhead, coming in and out of focus of my camera, but ended up perching right across the street for some of my best views. Now, Scott's Orioles aren't in Salt Lake County where I live, and so it took me about an hour drive to get out just where the tour started, and then we made quite the trek through the mountains to the west of Tooele. It of course ended up being very well worth it to get those lifers. I also ended up getting a gray vireo lifer too along the way, and got to see some very awesome habitats that I probably wouldn't have come to if I wasn't hunting for this particular lifer. So I'm really glad that Pat proposed this trip in particular to go looking for this bird. But anyways, we had now come to a quarry where I got some of my best views ever of rock wren. So now we've kind of come down into a quarry area, and there's a bunch of rock wren calling around us and giving us some really, really good looks just right behind me here, singing away, perched on top of a rock. Some of my favorite shots ever of these rock wren. But overall, the day has been going so well. Got my lifer Scott's Oriole and lifer gray vireo. That was really the main targets. Everything else now is just a bonus. It's been a beautiful day, so huge shout out to Patrick for leading this tour and bringing us along on the fun adventure. We're going to see what else we can find throughout the rest of the day here though. There's a chance we stop at a little wetlands area for some different birds, and hopefully we'll see some raptors on the way out too. So stick around, let's see what we can come across. And as we were wrapping up in the mountains, I actually did see one last Scott's Oriole, which was a good bonus to wrap up this particular location. But we are now transitioning to the next spot. Well, we wrapped up going through Hastings Pass. We are now going to make a quick stop at Tempy Springs Waterfowl Management Area to wrap up our adventure. At this area, we were quickly able to locate some of Utah's most common shorebirds and most iconic species like the American avocet. There was also a black-necked stilt foraging in the water. And then we got a good group of Wilson's phalarope, which is not a bird I see super often, especially as close as this. So I was pretty happy to see this bird, actually this flock of them, in the water too. The cliff swallows were still ever so present. They were probably our most plentiful bird throughout the entirety of the day, as they were with us in the desert, and they were still in the area as we were in the water too. One new bird on the day flew right by our heads, a Forster's tern. Now these were fun to watch circle and look around for fish. We even saw a few dive every once in a while, trying to nab a little fish from the water to eat. There was a sparrow species too, just out in the ground and in the bushes and brush. These were Savannah sparrow, another good bird to tack on to the day list. A little bit more out in the distance too, one of Utah's largest birds, the American white pelican, was out in the water. And then through the heat haze, we picked up a Franklin's gull and a willet to add on to our growing checklist. Now there was still plenty more avocet to see, and one really cool encounter we had was what I believe to be a nesting Wilson's phalarope. It kind of flew around the area, agitated a bit, I think by our presence, so we didn't stick around long, but very sweet. Checking back to the other side of the pathway across the water, some more pelican were out and about, and there were of course gulls, as you can usually find near water. These two were California gulls. Now I will wrap up here with probably the coolest thing from this location. There were nesting terns too on top of the ones flying around. Now you can't totally tell in this shot, but take a look here. You can see the babies sitting right by their parent. That turned out to be a nice little stop. Some really good looks at Wilson's phalarope, American avocet, amongst some other shorebird species. I hope you enjoyed this Audubon tour adventure. It was super fun. I'm really glad again to pick up those lifers. But thank you as always for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Happy birding.